Where does consciousness go? Fainting and coma. Consciousness. It's a thin line between being alive and simply existing. Sometimes it disappears for a few seconds and returns as if nothing happened. And sometimes it's gone for months or even years, while no one can tell where it went. What really happens when a person loses consciousness? And why, in some cases, it never comes back? Chapter 1. Fainting. A brief blackout. Fainting is a short-term shutdown of consciousness caused by a temporary drop in blood flow to the brain. It usually lasts just a few seconds, rarely more than a minute or two, and the person wakes up on their own. Before fainting, the warning signs often appear: dizziness, tunnel vision, ringing in the ears, a sudden chill or heat. The skin turns pale, muscles lose tone, and the body collapses. The pulse slows down. Breathing becomes shallow. But once blood flow to the brain is restored, everything resets. Almost anything can trigger it. Heat, fear, pain, emotional shock. It's the brain's safety protocol. A quick reboot to restore circulation. Chapter 2. Coma. System shutdown. A coma isn't a reboot. It's a full-scale system crash. The word coma comes from Greek, meaning deep sleep. But unlike sleep, you can't wake from it, not from sound, pain, or light. During sleep, the brain stays active, regulating breathing, temperature, and heart rhythm. In a coma, those systems become disorganized. It's as if the brain switches to emergency mode, keeping only the bare minimum needed to survive. Medically speaking, coma is a pathological state of complete loss of consciousness, marked by the absence of purposeful reactions to external stimuli, including pain. As it deepens, both superficial and deep reflexes fade, breathing and circulation become irregular, pulse may slow down or race, and even body temperature control starts to fail. The causes vary: stroke, trauma, poisoning, cardiac arrest, infection, overdose. But the root is always the same: disrupted communication between neurons. Signals can't pass through. The brain loses control of the body. Consciousness leaves, but where does it go? Chapter 3. Does a person in coma hear us? That depends on how deep the coma is. In severe cases, the body doesn't move, reflexes vanish, no reactions to pain or sound. But neuroscientists discovered something fascinating. Even in deep coma, the brain can still hear. In 2011, British researchers used fMRI to test a patient who'd been in a coma for 12 years. They asked him to imagine playing tennis. Amazingly, the motor area of his brain lit up, meaning he understood the command. Other experiments showed that familiar voices, especially from loved ones, can activate brain regions and even speed up recovery. Even when the body is silent, something deep inside still responds. Chapter 4. Artificial coma, a protective sleep. Sometimes doctors intentionally put a patient into a coma-like state. It's called medical sedation, or more poetically, a protective sleep. Why? To give the brain time to rest and heal. In an induced coma, metabolism slows, neural activity decreases, and brain swelling is reduced. It helps the body survive severe injury, trauma, or surgery. Drugs like propofol or barbiturates are used to keep the brain in this controlled silence, while doctors constantly monitor breathing, blood pressure, and chemistry. It can last days or weeks, but it's always temporary and used only when the risk is worth it. Finale. Fainting, anesthesia, coma, different states, one message. Consciousness doesn't vanish. It retreats, to a place where physics and psychology stop making sense. Then somehow it returns, sometimes in a minute, sometimes years later, and each time it leaves behind the same haunting question. If consciousness can be switched off, then who or what is flipping that switch?